Now we have created a config. Okay. Now we'll go back here. Right. We'll go to our main. Right. So I just want to tell you only for first. Okay. Only for first problem statement. Okay. You will feel little difficulty. Okay. You will feel little difficulty from the navigation point. Okay. From the navigation point of view, because there are a lot of things are already inbuilt here. Okay. But after that, okay, once you build one problem statement right here, and after that, when you will do the practice, at least for one problem statement, okay, after that, it will looks very easy, and you people will say, wow, like this is very easy as compared to what we did previously. Okay, so uh, do not worry about it, right? So this is only for the first time. That's it. Next time, you people will get familiar with very easy. Okay. So now we'll go to the initialization, but before that, go to the variable. Okay. So you can see there are a lot of variables are created by default. Okay. So you can see for the variable for transaction atom, exception and all, right? So these variables are created by default. Okay. Because as I said here, uh, the framework is already created, right? So we require a variable to store the data which we are taking from the queue, right? So for that, the variable is also there, right? So we'll see this time to time. And if you go here, right, you can see the purpose of each and every variable. Okay. So now we'll go to the initialize. So what is mentioned into the initialization? Read configuration file and initialize application using this process. Okay. Means we have to read the configuration file, right? Obviously, because those parameters we have to use here, right? And initialize the application means launch the application. Okay, just double click here. As soon as you double click here, okay, right, you will get landed here. Okay, and here everything is added into the try catch, right? So yesterday we have seen like if you add a try catch, it will look like this, right? So what they did initially, they mentioned system exception is nothing. Means initially they are just defining there is no system exception. Okay. So why they are mentioning here? Because when this flow will come here, right, it will have some system exception, right? But during the retry, right, we have to mention there is no error so that it will go and it will retry and it will close all the application. Okay. So don't worry about it. We don't need to do anything on this. We don't need to change it. Then just go down. What it is mentioned? If first run, read local configuration file. Okay. There is a condition. If first run, read local configuration file. So what do you mean by first run? What do you mean by second, third, fourth, right? Suppose your process is started running, right? So when your process is started running, right? So it will be your first, okay? It will be your first. Then what is a second run? What is a third run or any other run apart from the first run? So when we will get any system exception, right? And when the flow will go here, right? It will not be called as a first. It will call any other run apart from the first, right? So if that is the case, right, then you will ask, oh, then what is the importance of this condition, right? So you can see the condition. Config is nothing. So what is the config? Go variable. So config is a variable in which all the data from settings, constants, and asset will get read, okay, and it will get stored. So this is a config variable. So obviously, if it is a first run, okay, config will be nothing, right? There will be no data into the config. So that is the reason it is mentioned config is nothing. So if the condition is true, then only it will go to the first run. Otherwise, it will not go to the first. Okay. So what are those things into the first run? So first thing, there is a log message for the screen resolution. Okay. So what is the importance of it? So sometimes what happens, we have created automation in maybe XYZ resolution, right? And when it will run on the production, so it will be x plus 1 and y plus 1 resolution, for example, right? And it might happen due to this, we can get any kind of issues. Okay. So to avoid it, right, just to get an understanding what is the screen resolution. So during debugging, it will help, right? So that's the reason these steps has added. Okay. Then go down. This is invoke init all setting work. What invoke init all setting workflow will do? It will read the data from the config file and it will store into the config variable. But before that, what we have to do? Just scroll down. Just scroll down. Here you can see invoke kill all process work. So just take this flow and add after this screen resolution. Okay. What is the purpose of this flow? Right? You can see it is mentioned. So in case any applications are open related application, it will close it. Okay, so that it will have a fresh instance will be open, right? So here click on the open workflow. Okay, once we click on the open workflow, and here you can see everywhere the log message is added by default, right? This is for, and you can see the log level also. So this is for tracing purpose. Okay, because when the bot will run in unattended mode, right? Then how will come to know where the bot has reached or what point it failed, right? So this is for a tracing purpose. So we can trace it, right? Then we have to add a kill process. So here we are going to use UiDemo and Excel, right? So kill process, use the kill process. And you can see like, okay, let this complete. So this is UiDemo, okay, input, okay, what is the name? Properties, UiDemo, okay, don't take .exe. So this is UiDemo, okay, and this is the X, okay. And when you will work here, right, make sure do save all, right, because at a time we are working on more than one file, right? So do save all. So what we did basically, we went into the first run, right? We have taken this kill all process flow after the log message, right? Screen resolution. We have opened it and we have added two activities, two kill process activities. One is for UI demo and other one is for X. Okay, clear? So please go ahead and do this. Here we'll go like with very small chunks, right? So that it will be easy for you. So please go ahead and try. And don't run, okay? We'll go step by step.
Hello, sir. Actually, I'm disconnected with network issue. Can you see once again?
Okay. Like I'm not sure प्रतीक्षा आप कहाँ पे डिस्कनेक्ट हुए थे तो आप
Initialization step.
हाँ, initialization. So we are into the initialization only, right? So I just open the initialization. Okay. So here we have this system exception is nothing by default, right? Then here we are having the first one read the local configuration, right? So when we are running your process first time, right, it will be first. What will be the second run? When we'll get any system exception or something, right? And it will come here. So at that time, it will not be a first run. It can be a second run, third run, or fourth run, right? So in first run, we have to read the data, okay, and store into the config variable. So you can see this is a config variable, right? So when it is first time, config will be nothing, right? Then we have log messages. So why these log messages are there? To check the screen resolution. So if there is any difference between the environment where we have built and the production environment, right? After that, we just went down and we have taken this kill process flow after this log message and we have added two kill process activity. We have click on the open workflow. So here we have to add for UI demo and X. Okay, so just do this prediction.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then now we'll go back to the main, right? If no confusion, right? We can close this. Okay, so there will be no confusion because we'll open a lot of files. Okay, now scroll down. What is the next thing? Invoke init all setting work. Okay, so what this flow will do, right? It will read the data from each and every file, okay, or each and every sheet I can say, and it will store into the config variable. So we discuss about settings. What is constant? Go to the constant. Okay, it will also having same structure: name, value, and description. Okay, so name are the parameter, value are the real value, and description is description. Okay, so what do you mean by constant? Constant means it will never change. Okay, or most of the times it will not change, right? So that's the reason settings and constant made separately. So in a constant, right? Suppose when the transaction is successful, if you are having sorry business rule exception, system exception, right? Those logs will get added. Okay, those logs will get added. So these are the constant thing. So we don't need to change. Also here we have the retry count, right? As we mentioned. So we'll not give the retry count here. We'll manage it from the queue. Okay, we'll manage it from the queue. So don't give it, right? Next one is a asset. So what do you mean by asset? If you want to call any asset from the orchestrator, apart from credentials, okay? If you want to call any asset from the orchestrator apart from the credential, then we have to define into the asset sheet. Okay, we'll not define in any other sheet. Okay, credentials we have to call as it is like get credential, but if any string, integer, boolean is there, we can take it from the asset. Okay, so in this example, we will not see this asset part, we'll see it later. Okay, so now we'll go to the init all setting workflow. Before that, so you can see here the flow are created separately and we are calling those flow, correct? So just click on this argument. If you click on the argument, right, can you see this is the file path, right? Config file path, and it will go here as an in config file. What is this? This is the sheet name, settings constant. But we have three sheets, but they have given two sheets. We'll talk about it, right? In config sheets. And the out config will be out and it will be stored into this variable. Then the next question, what is the necessity of this uh, argument, right? Because this is a separate flow, right? So now if we want to do this data exchange, obviously we'll not able to do with the variable. So that's the reason we have to use the argument. Okay. Now here they have log message like initialization and start. Right. In the next step, it is mentioned. They are creating a out config variable. So why they are creating out config variable? Because here the processing will be done, data will be available into this argument rather than the variable, and it will be out and in the main, right? It will be get stored into this out config variable. Okay. So that's the reason they have created here. We can create from here or we can create from here also. Okay. But it is already created. Don't. And they have created the variable as a dictionary type. Huh? Dictionary type. Right. So why they have created the variable as a dictionary type, right? So this is our config file, right? Correct. So we have heard about the dictionary, right? So like we are using or we already use, right, the dictionary in our day-to-day life, right? What we have there, we have word and the description, correct? The same concept is applicable into the software programming as well, right? So here it will called as a key value. Okay, key value. So here we are calling as a word and description. Here they called as a key value. Okay, so this is a real value and this is a key, right? So what our dictionary variable will do, it will store the data in terms of key value pair. Okay, so suppose in the dictionary, if you want to find out any word and which is starting from maybe D or right, So what we have to do, we'll go there, we'll go to that particular page, we'll find out the sequence, and then we'll find out the description or explanation for that, right? Same thing applicable here also. We have a lot of key and values are there. So we'll give the reference for the key. Then our automation will find out that key, okay, and it will fetch the real one, okay. So that's the reason dictionary variable or argument being used, right? After that, there is a for each configuration sheet. Okay. Why there is a for each configuration sheet? Because we have we are having two sheets. Can you see in config here, right? In config sheet, settings and constant. So we have to read more than one sheet. That is the reason for each has been used. Normal for each, right? What is the input in config sheet? So suppose we can consider initially we are getting settings. So it will go to the read range. Okay. It will take the file path. And what is a sheet? Right? So whatever the sheet it will come, right? It will be the sheet, right? Here you can see storage sheet, right? So suppose it has taken setting, then the output will get stored into this variable dt underscore settings and constant. Okay, in this variable it will get stored. Now for each row being used here. So why for each row being used? Because we have to go to the settings and we have to read this row value and we have to assign in terms of key and value pair and it will get stored into the dictionary where. Okay, it will get stored into the dictionary where. Okay, so dt underscore settings and constant, the output of read range, then for each row. Okay, and here they are having one condition just for safe side. Okay, what is the condition? Read non-empty rows in the sheet. Okay, means we have to read only the row having the data. By default, it will do it, right? But just for safe side, they have added condition. They are checking row name has any value or not. Row name. So where is the row name? This row. So what is the condition? Not string dot is null or white spaces. So it will check there is no white spaces or there is no null value, right? So if this true means we have the data and it will take the row value. Okay, it will take row value. Then it will assign it to the row name. Can you see that row name dot to string? And then it will get stored into the outconfig variable, outconfig dictionary, right? So this is for one record. Accordingly, it will do for all the records which are available into the setting. Okay, so this is for setting. Now, once the setting is done, it will go back here. Okay, and it will take the next sheet. What is the next sheet? Cost, right? So same thing, it will follow for constant ones. So now path will be same, sheet will change, right? Output will get stored into the dt underscore settings and constant, right? Now there is a for each row, correct? So we'll give the output of read range for each row, and again it will follow the same. Whatever we have discussed, it will check is there any null or white spaces available into the row name, right? If it is available, it will not do anything. But if there is a data, it will take this row value, it will assign to the row name, and then it will store into the outconfig dictionary. Okay. These here we no need to change anything. I'm just explaining you so that you will be aware like what this flow is doing. Okay. Otherwise, we no need to do any change into this init also. So whatever we have seen, it is uh, for which thing settings and constant. But what about assets? So just scroll down. Here we are having get orchestrator. Okay. So read range in config. This is the sheet name. Okay. Output will be stored in dt underscore assets. And after that, we have to go through the all the records which are available here, right? So row, right? Here they are using get orchestrator, get assets from the orchestrator. So that's the reason this flow is being kept different from the settings and constant. Because settings and constant will have the real value immediately, but that is not the case with the asset. We'll give the asset name. But real value from where we will call? We will call from the orchestra, right? So that's the reason they have kept this flow different from this. Okay. So this is get orchestrator asset, right? Here already we have row orchestrator asset folder. From where it will come? It will come from here to orchestrator folder, right? This real value. But how we are defining? Like row orchestrator queue folder, okay, and here row asset dot, right? So it will go to the orchestrator, it will fetch the real value, okay, and then this real value will get assigned to the row name and it will get stored into the out config, okay. So what it will do, it will work on all the records or data available into the asset, right? And at the end, what it will do, everything it will get stored into the out config. So it will be out, right? And then into the main, it will get stored into this variable called as a config. Okay, so this is the purpose of init all setting. Okay, so any question, any doubt is clear. Okay, so now we don't need to change anything into this init all setting. I just explained like what is the purpose of. Okay, so we are done with this. And why I have taken this kill process just about, then you will say like why we did it. Because while reading the config file, right, if it's open, right, so it can close that file also. So that was the purpose basically. Then scroll down. We are done till this part. Here we have if in orchestrator queue name is, right. Then you will ask like what is this, right? Here also it is mentioned if in orchestrator queue folder is specified, right? So why this flow is there? Because if you go to the argument, right, from here also we can provide the queue name. From here also we'll be able to provide the folder name, orchestrator folder, right? But as we discussed, right, we don't want to define from anywhere. We'll have one place from where we'll provide all the inputs, right? So we have already taken this from the uh, config file, right? Setting sheet. So we'll not do anything. We'll keep as it. But in case if it is defined there, right? What this flow will do, it will check if in orchestrator queue name or if in orchestrator queue folder is if there is a null or white spaces, right? So if there is any data available, right, then what it will do, if it will take in orchestrator queue name and it will assign to this orchestrator queue name and it will store into the config variable. Same way for the folder also. But if there is no name, it will go to the else, it will not perform action. Same thing is applicable here also. Even though you are going to delete this, right, these two steps, doesn't. Okay, so we'll not use this at, right? After that, we are having add log fields, right? So what is the purpose here? So you can see this add log field has added for the business process name, right? Business process name. So if I open this, right? So this is the login business process will get added during the logs. I will show you. And from where the value is coming? The value is coming from config, right? So whatever the data are available in the settings and constant, now it has stored into the config variable, right? So it will take the reference of config variable, cconfig, and it will give the key name. What is the key name? Login business process name and dot. Okay, so it will fetch the real value and it will get added into this login business. Okay, so here also we no need to do anything. Right? Now, what is the next step in the initialization? We have to load the data into the, okay, we have to load the data into the view. We have to initialize the application, right? So what we can do after immediately add log fields, right? Click here, sequence, okay, and I will give the name as a load queuing. Load queuing. Okay. So if you want to load the queue data, right, what is the first thing? We have to read the data from the Excel, right? So take this. Now we'll not give the part directly, we'll not give the sheet name directly, right? So we'll give from the config. So then config, open close bracket, double quotes, right? What we have to do, input file dot to. Okay, here we have to do the sheet config, open close bracket, double quotes, right? We have to do the sheet, right? And then we have to store this into one of the variable. So here they already have given one extra variable as a data table, right? Which is called as a DT underscore transaction. Okay. So if you want to use it, you can use it. If you want to create another one, you can create another one. There is no compulsion. So I will use this DT underscore transaction. Okay. Now we have to upload this data into the queue, right? How we have uploaded previously, we have used for each, then we have uploaded one by one, right? But here we have another activity available, bulk add queue. Okay, bulk add queue, right? So here we don't need to give those parameters and all, right? Here we have to just give the queue folder. So how to give the queue folder? So here, open in advanced editor, config, open close bracket, double quotes, this is queue folder, right? So we'll take this queue name, okay, dot, okay. Similar way, we'll give the queue name. So here, config, open close bracket, double quotes, right? Where is our queue name? This is our queue dot, okay, right? And it is asking input, right? What is the input? DT underscore transaction. So what it will do, it will upload all the transactions in a bulk. Okay. So in this way, we have created this load queue data. Right. After that, what is left? We have to initialize that. That also will do it. But before that, just finish it and then we'll go ahead for the initialization. Okay. Okay. So what we did here, like we have added the flow to load the data into the queue. Right. Then just scroll down slowly. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down. Here we are having invoke init all application work. Okay, invoke init all application work. So in this flow, we have to uh, build our launch application step. Okay, so go to the arguments. Can you see what are the arguments here? Config is going to info. Okay, config is going to the info. Right, open. Now I have to build the steps right to record it. So we can go here. Right. So I can put these values you can take it from get credential as well. Huh? Here we have to type password, right? And then log. Okay. And click on save. Okay. So you can see like we have, okay, so remove this. You can unnecessary steps. Username, password, and click, right? Now remove this, huh? Because this is the password, right? Remove this. Now here we have to do one more thing, like we have to go to the properties, right? This close neighbor, and open always. Okay. But at the same time, if you go here, right, can you see the file path? How it is taking the file path, right? We don't want the file path to be like this. Okay. So we have to change it. So from where this path will come? It will come from in config, open close bracket, double quotes. Okay. So this is input app path. Why we are giving in config here? Previously we have done config because this is a separate flow. Here config will not be accessible. That is the reason the argument has created in config. Okay, right. So now we are done with our initialization. So can we, you people also go ahead and just build this initialization? Then we'll move. Okay, right. Now what is the next thing? Right. The next thing is go back to the main. Okay, suppose we are done with the initialization, right? So go back to the main. What is the next thing? Get transaction data. Okay. So in the get transaction data, right? I will explain the rest of the things, okay, later, but we'll just think positive thing now. Just scroll down, just scroll down, go to the else part. Okay. If you go to the else part here, we can see try get transaction data. Click on the try. Okay. What is the flow name? Get transaction data one. Okay. And here you can see arguments. Okay. Few of the arguments are created here. Okay. So I will just open this flow. Okay. Open this flow. This flow will get open. Right. Then we can see some arguments, right, for this flow which is already passed. Okay. So you can see in config, right? So config is been passed into the in config, right? And this out transaction. Okay. Out transaction. Here it is mentioned as a transaction. Okay. So our transaction will be out here. Rest of the things are like it's normal. We don't need to worry about it. So get to get transaction. They have added this log for the info purpose. Then can you see this get transaction atom? The same we have used, right? So here you can see in config, right? Orchestrator queue folder, queue name, and whatever the queue data we are extracting, it will get stored into this argument out transaction atom, right? Out transaction atom. And if you click on this argument, right? So out transaction atom will go to the transaction atom, right? And the transaction atom variable is already, see this out transaction atom will go to the transaction, right? And this transaction atom variable, it's a queue atom, is available here already, right? So that data will get fetched from the queue, right? And it will get stored into this transaction. That's it. So the purpose of get transaction is to fetch the data from the queue. That's it. We don't need to do anything here apart from that. Whatever we did, we initialize it. Right? Go to the process transaction. Go to the process. Just scroll down. Can you see this invoke process workflow? Okay. So this is your process transaction. Before that, we'll see arguments. What are the arguments using here? So transaction atom, right? So transaction atom will be in here as a in transaction atom, and config will be in here as a in config, right? So I will open this flow. And this flow here we have to create a repetitive step, okay? Or the this flow basically, right? So maybe I will go record. Right here we have to enter. We'll keep it blank. Blank. With blank. Okay. Click on the accept. That's it. We'll just create a flow till this. Okay. Or if you want to, yeah, take it. because we have to write the transaction number, and then to create, we have to take transaction time also. Okay, and then save and exit. Go back. So now we have created our flow. Here we have to mention open never, close. Okay, this, okay. This is very now here also you can see the path, right? So we can change it, otherwise not required because anyhow it is not going to open, right? I have removed it, or you can remove it, doesn't matter. Okay. Now here we have to provide the input. So how to provide input? Very similar. In transaction atom, right? Dot specific content. We have seen this, right? Dot specific content, open close bracket, double quotes. Okay. So what is this? Cache. Cache. Give it as cache dot toast. Okay. Copy. We'll go here. Okay. So we have to mention as a honest. This honest. Okay. And similar way, we'll add here not on. Okay. Now we have to create a variable also, right? For whatever the data we are extracting. So this is transaction pattern, right? Transaction pattern, transaction, transaction, and transaction time. Okay. So you can see we are in this two variable transaction for transaction. Right? The next step we have to write into the Excel, right? Write to okay. So now here we have to give the file output file path, right? So in config, open close bracket, double quotes, right? Output file path. So, right, config, open close bracket, double quotes, output here, with output sheet, output sheet, dot toast, right? From where we want to start writing, we want to start writing from E1, right? So I will give it here, say E, add enters. Okay. So now can anyone tell me how to give this data table? Any idea? Okay, so I'm not sure. Okay, so we don't have any data table. Right? So what we have to do? And before that, we are not even writing into the temporary data table, right? We don't created the temporary data table so far, right? So go to the initialization back. Okay, so here maybe anywhere, right? After or before, anywhere is fine. We have to use build data table, right? Build data. Right? Right? How many columns we required? We required two columns. Number, This should be also screen and time. Okay, that's it. What we have to do, we have to give the, maybe we can mention dt, okay, temp, dt, okay, do the save all. So now I will go here and I will try to search dt. So can anyone tell me why it is not coming here?
The
Any
scope has
reason?
to be changed.
Okay, so go to them, right? We'll go to the variables, right? We'll change the scope to the maximum, okay? Then you say, come back. Okay. Still it's not. Any idea how it will come, right? It will not come because this is separate flow, right? Main is separate. It will not come. So here we have to create a arc. Okay. In it thing, thing, for example, right? And what should be the type? Type should be data table, correct? System.data.data table. Okay. So that we will put in data. Okay. And then the next thing, we have to write the data into that temporary data table. So how to write? Add data, right? Here we have to give our variables, uh, transaction time, sorry, transaction requests, transaction number, comma, transaction time, right? Transaction time, and this is the table. So TD in detail. Okay, do same. Clear so far? After that,
One doubt,
mhm,
over here we have not put any loop as such. So it's like one transaction will come, that will be read, it will be put into the data table, and then you are pasting that.
see, this is loop, right? We have seen, right, during maybe when we have seen for UiDemo training, right? So it will be loop only, right? Once it is done, it will go here. So it will be in a loop, right?
No. Can you go to that process one? Yeah. So over here means the first row will come, when the first transaction will come, you will capture that, you put it into that temporary data table, a data row.
Mhm.
है ना? तो first transaction में पहला आया, and then you are writing that range into the workbook. So for every transaction ये होता रहेगा क्या?
Yes, because this is a process transaction. It will do the task repetitively,
हाँ.
right? So now we had done this. Okay. What else is left? Right? Only end process is left, right? But before that, here we have created this argument, right? So we have to map this argument to your that variable, right? Temporary temporary data table variable, right? So how to map? Go back to the main, go to the process transaction, right? If you go to the process transaction, click on the or go to this process workflow, import argument. Once we click on the import argument, go to this argument. Okay. So here you will be able to see that in DT10 and whatever the DT10 we have created, right, will map it and save. Okay. Save all because mapping is also important, right? Otherwise, how it will work, right? So we did the map. So in this way, We have completed process or transaction flow. What else is left? End. Okay. So end process, what we have to do? Go to the end process, right? Open workflow, and here simply we have to just click on the exit. That's it. Apart from that, we are done everything. Okay. So just go here, click on exit. So save it, right? And make sure here also we have to mention open, close, right? And here also it is taking the path, right? So if you want to remove the path, it is not required. Okay. So now first thing what we have to do, right? We have to go to the process transaction, right? How to build this flow, correct? Repetitive flow, right? Then we have to mention add range. So what write range. So what write range will do, right? It will write into the output file. So we have given output file path, output sheet name. Then here we have to give the table, right? Temporary data table. But we don't have temporary data table. So what we did, right? Into the initialization, okay, we have created a temporary data table here. Okay, here we have created a temporary data table. And we have created two columns: transaction number, transaction time, and what is the variable DT time, right? The DT time will not be accessible directly because the flow is different, right? So what I did, I have created the in DT time as a data table variable, and I have, okay. After that, what we have to do, we have to map also, right? So how we map, right? Go to the main, go to the process transaction, right? In a process transaction, we click on the input arguments and then open this argument and map the our in DT time to this DT. That's it. And at the end, so we are done with this, right? What we did, we went into the end process, right? We have opened this process, and here we are just clicking on the exit. That's okay. So please go ahead, build it. If you required any help, please let me know, right? And suppose if you are done each and everything, right, including process flows, right, run this in a debug. Okay, please make sure to run this in a debug. Okay, and let. And in between, if you need anything, navigation, something, please let me. Okay, don't hesitate.
Vaibhav, on the same pointer which I asked you earlier, so let's say the first transaction will come, it will go and write into data table. So the first row will be created and that row will be pasted into the Excel. Now the second time the transaction will come, it will go and create a second row. And this time again, it will paste, like when that write range activity will run, it will paste both the first and second row in the file.
See, very simple, friend. Whatever it did, okay, for UiDemo, training order, then repeat travel, right? Same thing it will do here also.
But वो paste दो बार कर रहा है ना, मतलब every run it will go and keep pasting the all the rows which are there in a data table.
So what this will do, ये क्या करेगा? It will write it, right? And you are asking कि in data type में suppose first row में ये लिखेगा transaction number, transaction time. Then next row, next time क्या होगा? There will be two records. So you are saying कि it is copy paste मतलब type कर रहा है? Yes.
हाँ, मतलब
Yes.
जितना ज्यादा ट्रांजेक्शन बढ़ते जाएंगे
Yes.
उतना वो डेटा फिर
Yes.
से बार बार पेस्ट करेगा. हेलो.
Yes. Yes.
यस ना.
हाँ हाँ.
तो ये इंक्रीमेंटल ना होके मतलब जो भी है पूरा एज इट इज पूरा डंप उठा के वहां पे पेस्ट करता जाएगा.
Yes. Yes. So फिर what you can do, right? You can do one more thing as well. This thing you can add into the here also at the end. right?
Yes.
Right? ये जो है, right? You can add it here, or the right range workbook directly we can write here also
हाँ,
into the age.
लास्ट में उसको जाके कर देते हैं.
Yes, that also we can do, right? But again, it's depend like how you want to go.
जो हाँ, मतलब आई एम जस्ट अज्यूमिंग कि जब बहुत सारा डेटा हो, क्योंकि वो बार बार पेस्ट करेगा तो अननेसेसरी
No, no, no.
मतलब
It will. मतलब देखिए ये problems RPA में नहीं आता. Okay,
अच्छा.
so no
अच्छा.
worry.
Giving an error. Is it
हाँ,
okay if I share my screen? You see, I have given this, like the queue name is coming as UiDemo queue, and the folder path is under shared. It's a UiDemo, which is this. So under shared, it's a UiDemo, and this is my queue name. When I'm running, it's giving an error.
okay. Yeah. Control this. Okay. So this might be the case due to this. आप यहाँ पे देखोगे, right? You can see this page change, right? यहाँ पे
Okay.
click करोगे, तो by default it is pointing to this folder, right? So
Okay.
what is your folder? कौन सा आपका folder? This one.
Yeah, this one, this one.
हाँ, okay. So now it will point to that folder. ठीक है, आप एक बार रन करके देखिए.
Run करके देखो.
हाँ, or the user does not have. Okay. हाँ, हाँ, ठीक है. ओके, कहाँ पे? यहाँ पे है.
हाँ.
लाइक तो फोल्डर के अंदर फोल्डर नहीं होता है, मतलब आइडियली. ओके, तो वी हैव टू बी अ सेपरेट फोल्डर. मतलब मैं आपको इसका एक सिग्निफिकेंस भी बताऊंगा, देन मे बी विल अंडरस्टैंड. ओके, तो वी कैन गो बाय बाय. ओके, ठीक है, यहाँ पे बाय. ठीक है.
ठीक है. उधर क्यू बनाना पड़ेगा. हाँ?
ओके, ठीक है, आप अपग्रेड गिव द सेम नेम, तो फिर वो अपने आप ले लेगा.
हाँ. हाँ. मुझे फिर से डिबग कर.
हाँ,
चला.
आप स्टॉप कर दीजिए, नहीं चलेगा ये.
हाँ, मैं देख.
पासवर्ड से वेरिफिकेशन.
यस, यस.
What about others? Okay, so Rachit, just one thing. Okay, I will just run the flow and show you, and after that maybe you can drop off if you want, right? So I'm going to run this. Okay, and like today we have created this UI demo, right? So what you can do before coming to the tomorrow's session, right? Try to build a training order system. Okay, training order. So what you can do first, even though it's working perfectly fine, right? First try to do this, right? Once you are done this, again do the same thing. Again do this UI demo one more time by your own. Okay. Once it is done, right? Then create a training order flow. Okay, training order flow in the REFramework and see how it works. Okay, suppose there are any errors, any problem, we'll sort it out. Okay, started. Okay, so you can see it is taking all the transaction one by one. At the same time, it will update the status into the queue as well, right? And you see, like whatever these messages are there, log messages, right? So you can see all the log messages into that out. So it's working, right, Prince?
However, it got stuck at one place. I need to check
Oh,
somewhere. I will have a look later.
okay, sure, sure. So you can see here the sprint resolution, right? Whatever this trace
Yeah,
message.
yeah. It went to the application, first transaction. After that, it failed that use application UI demo, no open window found. So
So
maybe the
it closed actually. It closed by the process. So you can mention close name.
hmm.
Okay, fine. So if anyone want to drop, please drop. No worries. Just build a training order system. Okay, before coming to the tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trevor.